Welcome to the garden. Today I'm going to share with you 3 seeds you can plant now on the first day of spring and why. These are peppers, tomatoes, and warm weather herbs. Here in Minnesota, I have to plant my seeds based on what the weather will be like in a few months, not what the weather's like now. There's actually still snow on the ground. We're going to start today with peppers because I think these take the most amount of work. I actually saved my own seeds from fruit that I grew last year. And you can plant your seeds directly into their pots, just like this, but they can take a while to germinate, and they don't always germinate. So last week, I pre-sprouted some seeds on a wet paper towel. I just wet a paper towel like this, wring out the extra moisture. You don't want this to be soaked, you just want it to be damp. Then you spread out your seeds. Do be careful if you're touching these with your hands. These seeds are really spicy. Then we'll fold it over so that those seeds are surrounded with moisture, and then into a plastic bag to keep them moist. Check on this every couple days to make sure it stays moist and to watch for roots. Let's just take a peek here. Look at that. Look at that germination rate. Wow, that's incredible. You can see those little fuzzy hair-like roots. Those can really grip into the paper towel, but you can just tear off little portions. So when it comes to germinating your seeds, you really want them to stay moist and warm. That way they think it's spring and they sprout really quickly. I just kept these in front of a heat vent. You can also use a sunny window, and they even sell heating pads specifically for seedlings. It's okay to plant multiple seeds per pot. That way, if one of the seeds doesn't sprout, or if one of the seedlings is a little bit damaged, you should have a few backups. And I like to bury them about twice as deep as the seed is tall. So these pepper seeds are going to get buried about a centimeter under the soil, just like this. You'll notice I'm starting these in a medium-sized pot. You could use seed cells to save space, but these are so small, you're going to end up up-potting your plants several times. And peppers really don't like to be up-potted. I found that the more you transplant your peppers and up-pot them, the worse off they are. So it's been about a week to form these roots. It'll be another week until we see the first little sprouts. I'll up-pot them when they're twice the size of the container they're in. So we gotta wait until these are about 6 to 8 inches tall. Next up, we'll start some tomatoes. And these I'm perfectly fine using seed cells. Tomatoes aren't really that finicky. You can up-pot them as many times as you like and they'll be just fine. Tomato seeds are about the same size as our pepper seeds, so we're going to plant them about 1 centimeter deep. And I'm only starting about a dozen plants today. We're not planting the whole garden out yet. We're just doing an early batch. We'll just cover those up about 1 centimeter deep. Water those in. And it's really important that you keep these warm. So give them as much sun as you can, especially when they start to sprout. And in about a month, these will be ready to go out in the greenhouse. And in another month, they'll be ready to go out into the garden. I plant my seeds in these spinach containers so that they can be like little greenhouses. They actually keep in a lot of heat and a lot of moisture, so they're perfect for seedlings. Don't forget to label your seedlings. So I'm going to mark these Cherry Tom for cherry tomatoes. Now the final seed we're going to be planting today is actually basil. It's not the best example here. Most of these Mediterranean herbs have really tiny seeds and take a really long time to grow. You can look at the days to maturity on the back of the packet, or days to harvest. This is 180 to 200 days. That's a long time. So we really want to get these started now so that we could potentially maybe harvest at the end of the season. A lot of these herbs aren't going to harvest until the second year. But I did that with sage, and now I have beautiful perennial sage growing in the garden, and it comes back every year. I also get the flowers and save the seeds. But here's a sage seed. It's actually a lot larger than the thyme and the marjoram. Those are going to be very, very small. Because of their small size, we have to plant these in a specific way. If we planted our seeds as deep as they are tall, we would basically just be pressing them into the soil, which is all we really need to do for a lot of these herbs. They're so tiny, if you bury them, they might have a tough time coming up. So this is really all we need to do. Press them into some wet soil. This actually surrounds them with soil without covering them up. You can also just give them a light dusting over the top. Just enough to cover them without burying them. So again, we'll just water these in, keep them nice and moist, and make sure to keep them really warm. That is incredibly important, especially with these Mediterranean herbs. Now we'll mark this with a B for basil, or you might actually just want to put a tag right into the soil. That way you don't mix up your cells. So now we've planted out some peppers, some tomatoes, and even a few herbs. We just want to keep these incredibly warm. So I really like these spinach containers, because once I put the lid on, they still get plenty of sun and it traps in heat like a little miniature greenhouse. They also make it really easy to water as it all stays in the container, and I can reuse these year after year. I hope you plant these 3 seeds in your garden to get a head start on spring. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.